My name is Ruqayyah Louise Deville, and I'm nearly approaching 47. I have one sister. I have a mother that's still alive, but my father passed away about 10 years ago. We were in and out of religion. My mother was a Roman Catholic. My dad was a Christian, but we never really went to a Roman Catholic school and that kind of upbringing. We spent most of the time in a very just ordinary Christian upbringing, really, normal everyday family life. Then school predominantly was our main Christian focus, and all the divinity was actually done during that time of the prophet Jesus, and I was a very shy child. I didn't have many friends, but nothing has changed throughout my adult life anyway. I'm very much a reflective, on your own kind of person. I would think that my main hobby or my main interest through my childhood was about speech and drama. It was always about Shakespeare, loved Shakespeare, and the importance of language and diction. I used to have a friend called Waylene Fan. We used to go and play tennis quite a lot during my teenage years, and we used to get on our bikes and go strawberry picking in the summer to earn a little bit of money more than anything else. We used to just eat them and pick them, eat them, pick them, eat them, pick them. That was all our summers, really. I used to go scrumping, which is going up an apple tree, usually trying to nick somebody else's apples and fall out of trees. So the religion really didn't take any hold until I was really about 15, 16. And then I was looking for something more than what I was getting. I actually didn't feel I was fitting in to my own life. Does that make sense? I just feel like there was something missing. There was like a jigsaw puzzle that I couldn't quite make out. And I went into Zen philosophy, into the Buddhist philosophy, very interesting philosophy and very peaceful. And it really did resonate with me in my teenage years. My first experience of Islam was when I worked at a private hospital as a senior manager, and it was predominantly Arabic. It was an Arabic-owned private hospital in London. And that is when I got my understanding of some Islamic etiquette and rules, and rather than the actual religion, to be perfectly honest. I wouldn't say that my interest came about until I met my daughter's father. And I started to have a relationship with him. He was a Pakistani Muslim. And the reason why I became interested was because of his poor Islamic etiquette, shall we say. And he would preach it, but not follow it. I'm thinking, hang on a minute, he's telling me all of this about Islam, about modesty of the woman, the hijab for the woman, the role of the man. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, no drinking. What, he used to drink? No taking drugs? He used to take the occasional drugs? Hang on a minute, this doesn't make sense. I'm going to be honest with you, I even went through a period of, going out clubbing and drinking and taking the occasional drugs and taking a very hedonistic approach to life. It's almost like I gave up on God. And then I started to think, hang on a minute, there's something more I'm doing. What am I doing? I'm putting my career, I'm putting myself at risk here. I'm destroying myself. And I think over a period of time, I started to build up and think to myself, there's something more to me. There's more passion, more creativity in me than I'm showing now. And I started to question myself and question my own behaviour. And I decided to go back to a Christian church. But I walked in there and it didn't feel right. My heart wasn't singing. I was singing the hymns, but there was no resonance there, there was no passion there. There was nothing I could actually get hold of and call it my own. When you've been abused to the point where you get battered and you get bruised and you get, you're told how, awful you are and how unworthy, you start to believe it. You don't see yourself. When you look in the mirror, you see what that man or what other people are saying. You've lost the true essence of God. And with the drugs and the alcohol and the disco dancing, oh my God, it was just like chaos in your thought processes. And it was reflecting out in your emotional, in your physical, in your spiritual. It affects every aspect. So I decided to leave Saliha's father because he wasn't for my highest good, really. And then I thought, okay, right, what do I need in my life? I need rigidity. I need meditation. I need focus. I need a practice. So I went to Woking Mosque and I saw a beautiful sister there, Salma, and we had some one-to-ones. And I tell you what attracted me to Islam. It was the prayer. I needed something where it's not just about the practical aspect, it's a spiritual aspect. Something that touches you on an energetic level that you can connect with and resonate with, that you think is going to in some way give you the power to get through some of the trauma and the disappointments and the violence in your own life. And it was prayer. It was a guidance. It was like a light switch. I can remember my Shahada anyway, at Woking Mosque. But I said it half-heartedly. Do you know, I know people say, oh, when I converted, I had all these. It was almost like I still had that doubt, but I was saying it because I knew it was right, but I wasn't too sure whether I could fulfill it. Does that make sense? First of all, my number one priority was to pray, because I thought the only thing, which I wasn't too sure what Allah was, to be perfectly honest, was this feeling I had inside my heart that every time I prayed, I felt I was getting healing. I felt I was loved. I felt there was some supernatural energy field affecting me, making me feel happier. Yeah? It didn't stop the day-to-day living, but when I prayed, it was just that moment where I can just open up and get some healing. It was like my little communication with God. And then I went through a really horrific time because unfortunately Saliha's father came banging on the door in my life again and demanded his right of goodness knows what. And unfortunately he assaulted me to a point where I could never go back. I wrote a poem just before I did my Hajj. And it was like my first partner took away my physical essence, my body, with the bruising and the battering. And then Saliha's father actually then took away my hope. He took away the spirituality, he took away my heart, he took away the emotional aspect of myself. So physically I wasn't there, emotionally I wasn't there, I was a blanket, I don't know what I was, vacant. Spiritually I wasn't connected. And for some unknown reason, the only thing that saved me from actually dying was my soul. And my soul lit a candle and said, Islam. And it was kind of like that and it was really difficult to try and say really, because it wasn't the saving grace of me. It actually is the biggest challenge for me in life. But this light, it's almost like Allah grabbed me and picked me up from the sand and travelled with me and rebuilt me. But it didn't happen by reading the Shahada. It happened over, was it 15 years now I've been Muslim? So I thought I'd try and reinvent myself. How can I reinvent myself? I'm still the person. I have to go inside. And what Islam did to me, it made me investigate who I am. So what I believe Allah has done is set me some very difficult challenges in my life for me to learn from. But I had to say, I surrender. I had to say, okay, a control freak that I am, I'm going to go with the flow of what you've given me. I haven't got a clue where I'm going, but I'm not going to resist. And I'm going to find out who I am. Being a convert in my community, I actually don't see myself as a Muslim in my community. I just see myself as Ruqayyah, because all of my acquaintances and friends accept me for who I am. You know, so religion isn't a barrier at all. And actually one girl who is trying to find her reconnection with God said one of the things that she did appreciate about the way that I speak about my faith is the fact that this deep love that I have for Allah, you know? And so I actually don't feel it. I mean, I'm a health and safety consultant. I run my own business. I'm self-employed and have been for about 7 years now. And all my clients know that I'm Muslim. And it has not affected my way of business at all. I'm part of a small Muslim community. I used to have a big role in the community where I was on one of their committees, you know, one of their Muslim associations, where I did an awful lot of trying to support people in Islam in, you know, when they want to convert and, you know, and take people through the steps of converting. I don't do that so much now because of my health and, you know, and my work. But, you know, they do call on me sometimes to talk to people because it's so important that they're converting for the right reasons and not for the wrong reasons. And it's also important to ensure that they know they don't have to do everything all in one go, that they, you know, health and safety of converting. So you take it at a very slow pace and you're not going from converting and then being in hijab and niqab and all in black, you know, and that really and truly, it is a slow process of evolution and reformation into the person that they are through the faith of Islam. The reality pill is that we can't all be perfect and that we all have some quirkiness, and I think most people these days, if your demeanour and your personality and the tone of your voice is one of calm, love, chilled out, they're going to accept you. It's when you're there giving all of the "this is the only way to do it" that there becomes a problem, because if you've got resistance, it builds fear. So I think that's the reason why they accept me. I'm very blunt and to the, you know, to the point. What you see is what you get. You're going to sit down and eat at the table?
I don't know, would you like me to change where I sit, or would you like me to sit where I do normally?
Go and sit where you sit normally. Cheeky, isn't she? Do you know what? I'm, you know, bringing a child up, I suppose it's any child, but somebody who is as vocal as that is sheer hard work. I'm bringing up very much as a conscious, loving child. I'm bringing her up with the viewpoint of Islam. And I mean, she has been to Arabic school and she has been to, you know, Islamic schools. She doesn't go at the moment because we're focusing on her GCSEs because she's taking them early. But her intention actually is to learn the Arabic language. And when she goes to sixth form college, it's her intention to do her GCSE in Arabic. What I want her to do is find her own journey and find her own love of her own religion through her own experiences. I'm hoping that I give her a good role model, you know, within my own teachings and with my own, the way that I am. Hopefully she's learning how to be a woman by following me. There are going to be some issues because, you know, and I'll tell you what she said one time. She goes, "Mum, I'm not going to make the same mistakes as you. I'm going to make my own mistakes. And then I'll have to be responsible for those mistakes. And that's what she will be. Whereas with my family upbringing, it was more about not taking responsibility sometimes for our own feelings and our own understanding of our own life. Fruit's in the pudding, is it? Fruit's in the pudding? Well, we'll soon find out when she becomes 21 and see if it's worked. Inshallah, everything is with Allah. So all I can do is say dua, and hopefully she'll choose wisely. My mother, you have to remember at this time, I was breaking away from Saliha's father, the destructive nature of my lifestyle. My mother wasn't happy with my lifestyle. My mum wasn't happy with my choice in men. My mother wasn't happy by the disintegration of my soul. Yeah. So what you have to think about is that I had a little gap from my mum where I didn't speak to her for 9 months. In fact, my family did not know where I was. I walked out that door of my family home. I just had a miscarriage. I just lost a baby at that time. I didn't know where I was. I walked out that door and I found myself work. I found myself a job. I didn't know where I was going. I was on my own. And I decided that I needed to get away from my family. I needed to get away. So my mum had about 9 or 10 months of not knowing where I was, which drove her demented. And then I rang up my cousin John, who was my dad's cousin, and said, could you just tell my mum I'm okay? And then it took me a lot of courage to actually ring up my mother and my dad and said, hi, I'm okay, I'm sorry. And then I said, by the way, I'm Muslim now. Sorry, she says. And off she runs to the priest. What is my daughter doing? She even got the priest round to the house and said she's a Muslim. But is she going to be a better person being a Muslim? Is it right for her? Just accept. And the priest said that to her. So she accepts. She tolerates is the word she uses. And I only had one friend, Kathy her name was, who was my lifesaver. I slept on her couch because when because of another abuse that Saliha's father did, I left because I had to go and find sanctuary, and I found it on her couch. What I didn't realise is that I was actually pregnant at the time, so I lay on her couch for 4 months. I actually spoiled the whole of her relationships because every time she'd come in with her partner, I'll be there on my prayer mat. And he would say, okay, it's all right, I've got to go. So I had to leave the house pretty quickly. I think I was there for 4 months sleeping on a couch until I got my own place to stay, because every time they walked in, I was just on the prayer mat praying. And she said, your Islam has spoilt my love life. But we still laugh about it now, but she's still my good friend. I feel that I've suffered to help other women. I feel that I've had to go through this journey of violence, aggression, rape, torture, whatever you want to call it, because that's what it was, where I lost myself. I feel I had to go through that learning so that I can help other women. And my role purely today is to teach women how sacred they are and how beautiful they are. The Quran talks about the womb a lot, talks about the feminine energy a lot. When the Quran talks about men and women, it's men and women, masculine and female. Not one is better than the other. The teaching is there. It talks us about the clot that is formed, the souls of masculine and feminine, and that he then sent us all out as tribes. I have been invited over to America to do some workshops on the sacred female, and I'm in the process of writing a book at the moment about my experiences. and it will be a spiritual book. It's about the woman understanding who she is. And it's my journey through very dramatic, through my Rouhani path, how I've come to actually understand who I am. And I've found a publisher, and hopefully it will be published by the end of the year, inshallah. And I have a retreat in Somerset coming up where I'll be going through this whole process. My work is very specific because it works with, because of all my traumas have been in the area of the womb, which has been taken away, and I'm working through the energy system of love to actually bring myself back through the energy of the creation point of God. God created everybody. I often see the womb as an amazing organ that we actually don't appreciate, because in that there's a sperm and an ovum come together, fuse, multiply, manifest, create. All the Allah's names could be put into that moment, and then God goes, blows on there and brings the soul in. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Do you know how much we create? It's an amazing, I call it the genosis of the womb. And in that time, masculine and female are in union. The energies are in union. And at that time, we are connected to God. That's the time where we all wish we were back in our mother's umbilical cord, attached into the womb, because we knew exactly what our soul purpose was. We knew why we were here, and we could feel God. Unfortunately, when we came out, we forgot quite a lot. We forgot our purpose, we forgot our root, and we needed to forget to find ourselves again. I've taken the door of Islam to find myself. And spiritually, reading the Quran, it's changed. When I first converted, I read it like a lecture. Oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. Oh, okay, I've got to do this and I've got to do that. Okay. And it became almost like an encyclopedia, a textbook, the do's and don'ts of living, okay? And then when I came back from my Hajj and I read the Quran again, I realized the Quran is a heart. And in that heart, there's gentle, beautiful notes being read, and in each of those notes there's energy, and that's the beating heart. You cannot take the Quran, this is my learning, and look at one ayah and say, okay, that's right for humanity. You've got to take the whole of the Quran as one beating heart, and when you connect to that spiritual heart, then you will understand. It's almost like, here's the jigsaw puzzle, and you're trying to put the jigsaw together. Go above it, feel above it, and see. So my work is about for women to understand all aspects of themselves. The sexual, the emotional, the physical, and the mental. It's about understanding who they are, and then being able to work equally with their men in a decent relationship. That's what I feel my passion is. That's what I feel Hajj taught me. And that's where my Islam is going.